Did get my good side right.
I thought you said you didn't have a good side. There's no way I'm holding this the whole time.
That really not going to fix itself.
We are back at it. And you got the good one. I got the ghetto one. But mine's the good one and yours is the ghetto one.
It's just not doing the job.
Man. We'll find out. Josh Zabec back with I Know What I Know. Here with one of my protege partner, the man, the myth, the legend, Jason Trumble.
Pleasure to be here.
I had to put a French accent.
I don't know why you did it, but so glad to be on and have a chance to talk about some of this stuff that we've been talking about for hours.
I know there's a lot to go over. And I guess first get a background on how we kind of met.
Going back to 2016, at least, crossed past in the home improvement industry.
Technically, if I would have been at a speaking engagement with my dad at one of those times we were talking to Ed, didn't even know.
It's like one of those times where you see the young Steph Curry, at 8 years old at a basketball game. I met Michael Jordan.
I don't remember you.
Exactly. Anything, kid.
I guess names don't matter on companies now.
They're gone.
Yeah.
Maybe the name of the company still exists, but not the people there anymore.
Got sold. Crazy.
Definitely have been through a lot of sales between the two of us. That's for sure.
Yeah. In-home sales, vinyl windows, high pressure.
One day close.
I don't think you called it high pressure.
Oh, that's what we did. Call it what you want to call it, but it was urgency-based closing.
Fooling people, trying to present a price at the end of the day we knew wasn't going to change. And we would say,
what is going to change tomorrow? They're going to call you back and cut me out of the deal. And
people don't know about people calling customers back after a sales rep goes out there and they're like, we can do it cheaper. We got a better price.
Have you ever had Cox Cable, or maybe we don't mention names, Verizon, AT&T,
Comcast?
We've got a monthly subscription and call them and say, hey, I'm switching over to another company.
It's the best way to get a cheaper price. That's why they literally have
somebody else
called a retention department. Their job is to retain you as a customer and they'll drop their price.
We transfer you to somebody who speaks English. Where it all started for me, actually, in high school.
What were you doing?
We were selling magazines. Telemarketing was different. We didn't call the state that we lived in. We'd call the rest of the country. And that was high pressure, over the phone. One chance. You're never going to get another opportunity to get this person back on the phone again. And I need your credit card number, magazine subscriptions. And now you've got magazines coming to your house for the next decade.
Was that like the same kind of company that whenever I was little and I ordered on my mom? I guess I ordered on my credit, but I was like 12. All the CDs, you'd get buy one, get 7 free, and they try and bill you monthly for it.
The pitch. You'd call people and you'd say, hey, congratulations. You've been entered into the Grand National Sweepstakes, where there's going to be a $10 million winner drawn at the end of the year. The only criteria for you to be entered into the sweepstakes is you do still have to be an active card holder of either Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or Discover. I just want to make sure you are still an active carrier of at least one of these cards, right? I say, yes, congratulations. Now, part of the sweepstakes, you're going to be receiving this magazine and this magazine absolutely free for the next 5 years. The only thing you have to do is help us out with this weekly subscription of this one magazine that's going to be $5 a week. And all of a sudden, $5 a week turns into $250 a year, but you just bought a 5-year subscription and $1,250 worth of magazines. It was an awesome introduction into sales.
Psychology.
And you're meeting this person for the first time over the phone, trying to get something to relate to them, because if you got the right person and you mentioned the right magazine, all of a sudden they really want that hunting magazine or that car magazine or that cigar aficionado magazine.
So you were just like a marketing company for the magazine companies?
There were no magazines in the building. We sold those orders. So it all started with, you got somebody to sign up for a $1,200 contract. They're going to get billed $50 a month for the next 24 months on this credit card that they gave to you. We turned around, we sold that to a company that actually sent out magazines, and they collected the $50 a month for the next 2 years.
So it was a lead generation company.
We were getting $300-$400 a deal, and we turned leads into sales. They bought phone lists all across the country, and we'd have telemarketers that called them. They say, now let me go ahead and transfer you over to my supervisor. And then we'd have a boiler room full of closers.
That's crazy.
Just, sitting back there, pounding coffee, smoking cigarettes, smoke indoors back then.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
70s.
Feeling old. Swinging doors in the
I know.
90s.
I did the thing on telemarketing and the origins in the 70s and 80s and how crazy it was then to really carry through to the 90s until it went overseas.
I
Some
remember
wild
when we opened up our
environments.
first office in India with that company. So we'd have our telemarketers in India and the supervisors here in Virginia, and they would transfer them over and we'd still close all the deals.
Man. What year was that, do you think? Let's think about
2000, 2001 was doing that from 98 till 2006 when I found home improvements. Again, got into the honest and ethical.
I didn't know then what I know now.
Amazing the things that you don't realize until the curtain gets pulled back a little.
So you learn one company structure compared to another company structure, and that's still two in a pool of infinite companies and infinite ways to run the company and
sales. That's the story you learned and that you've said over and over. And you wouldn't be saying it if you didn't believe in it and think that it was true.
I think that's what I've talked about too before. It's not like there's a difference between conning somebody. Like we weren't conning people. Were we overpriced relative to the market? Yeah, but you know what? People have marketing costs, and the bigger the company, the more marketing costs you have. And customers still have the free will to decide if they want to deal with a little guy or a bigger guy, and if they want to absorb that marketing cost to feel like they have a safety net of a company that has a good background. Although they used high pressure sales as a tactic, that's just the industry standard. Both of those were ethical companies.
There was absolutely no lying, cheating, stealing going on. It's customer acquisition cost is
morality
what we've been talking about a lot.
And I guess that's where you don't know until, as a sales guy or as anybody in any industry, just because you're working at McDonald's and you see 100% all beef patty on there doesn't mean it's all beef or it's a company. Or are you even to know that you're just the guy cooking the fries?
Exactly. Tofu.
It was actually no. But you're not going to ask the fry guy about the beef. And it's like you're making a living. You're supporting your family. You're doing what you have to do. You
do good work. Your customers are happy and they're not complaining.
That's the crazy thing. And then you get referrals from customers who are telling their friends. But some people feel comfortable with that. Lead generation companies, whether it's for magazines or for home improvement companies, are the ones that ultimately make most of the money in the industries.
Sure. Nowadays with the internet, that's the huge difference in our generation. It was knocking doors and telemarketing. These were the only ways to generate appointments. Right. There was no Googles and Facebooks and Twitters, all the social media that exists nowadays. I remember when the do not call list became a thing. I remember when Google reviews were scoffed at. And we've got 20,000 customers. You mean to tell me those 10 complaints is the reason why you're not doing business with us? Well, now your online reputation is who you are. You can reach masses, and people that do get ripped off or feel like they didn't get what they were promised do have a voice. And hopefully it does hold companies more accountable.
Sometimes they have a voice. And that's the problem. Like even with YouTube, you can have the best message in the world. You can do the best job. But if you don't get it in front of people, with everybody having cell phones nowadays and them having the ability to review, there's a lot more people who are more apt to go online to feel like it's going to have an impact.
You can get more information than you ever could before. Who you're doing business with is just as important, if not more important, than the price.
Found that person, I would say.
Or
how you found that contract. You. Exactly. Because that's the thing. If they're finding you, even if you find them, how did you find them? From a friend? Well, what's that really mean? Not that your friend's stupid, but I have some friends that make bad decisions. And just because they tell me this is the guy, how many contractors have they dealt with to say this is the number one? Yes, you had a good experience. But like the company we came from, you could have had a great experience, but you overpaid the whole way through. And now you're passing that name forward. People need to understand
it's hard to find that combination. We always say you're going to give up something. So are you willing to give up the service, the quality, or the price? You can get two of the three, but you're not going to get all three. You can have the best quality and the best service, but you're not going to be the cheapest. If I'm going to be getting the best price and the best quality and the best service, how is this company able to do something for me that no one else was able to do? And that kind of ties back into what we've been talking about all along, is cutting out the big major middleman that didn't used to exist in these industries. You didn't used to have to pay to find that customer outside of your yellow page ads or your radio and your television.
Telemarketing and canvassing. And telemarketing technology advanced it to some degree to become unscrupulous. But there's laws in place now. And there's still ethical companies that can utilize telemarketing companies to get the customers they want without having to rely on these third-party lead generation companies. Talk about Angie. And I think what blew my mind is the parallels to Angie's List and the autograph world and how that operates. It's just like every big company that has money is going to dominate these spaces. But that's not to say telemarketing doesn't work. It's not to say canvassing doesn't work. And customers hate these, but you know what? At the end of the day, when a canvasser knocks on my door, odds are he actually works for the company he's canvassing for. And I can see he's a real person. And it's not Angie, the canvasser, representing 5 companies that they're going to pass my name off to.
So you've got to almost choose your annoyance. Everybody loves Facebook, and they complain that they don't see anything their friends post anymore. All they see is ads. Well, that's what those ads are paying for you to see all the other stuff that your friends are posting for free. Yep. You're not paying to be a member of Facebook. So someone's going to pay to grab that person's attention in some way. And so you've got to choose your annoyance. Nobody wants to be telemarketed. Nobody wants to have a canvasser knock on their door. Nobody wants to watch YouTube ads. Nobody wants to have Pandora interrupt them and play a commercial. All of these things are little annoyances. If you don't want those annoyances, there's a premium subscription that doesn't play you ads. Somebody's paying for it somewhere along the line. You can pay to not have those, but it's the hidden fees that seem to bother people. When you are under the assumption that I'm going to Angie's List or I'm going to Home Advisor, huge company that's playing Super Bowl commercials because they have my best interest at heart, they're going to vet all of these companies and provide me with who's the safe one for me to spend my money with. But what you don't see is that they're going to sell your information to all of those companies at an astronomical price. And that company now has to double or triple your price to justify purchasing those appointments. If you could have found that company, it could be a lot more affordable. So you go and you say, what is the price of roofing material? Well, if a guy makes this much an hour and the material costs this much, a roof costs X number of dollars. And it's, the roof does cost that number of dollars. Now multiply by 3 for you to find them and them to find you. And if we can lower the cost of customer acquisition, companies can lower their prices, customers can get better deals. And who's losing in this? The annoying people you were trying to cut out in the first place.
If nothing stops a customer, it's not libel, slander, or anything like that. They get an estimate from a contractor and they post it online. Keeps people honest.
Absolutely.
It's not to put people out of business because, again, it also breeds 2 things. If somebody's coming into your house on the Angie's List lead and they paid for that, they have 2 choices to make. They're going to have to high pressure sell you to take you out of the market so you don't get the other 3 or 4 guys and start a bidding war. Because if they get in a bidding war, the second option is they're going to have to lower their price to beat the other guy's price to earn your business. Because people buying off price are going to keep negotiating. And some of these guys are looking for the now. And they've put out so much money to acquire a shot to talk to this person that they're willing to just get a down payment so they can cover their lead cost. And they sell that job. And it's not at the profit they want. And it's not the right profit to manage their business.
When the caulking cracks a couple of years later, got a leak. Wonder why they're not in business anymore.
I'm not saying the cheapest, but there's a balance of all of this. And everybody with the communication sources that they have.
Your higher quality.
Somebody should start didigetfucked.com.
Anyway.
Oh, I did. Didigetfucked.com. Post your reviews on there now with contractors and the prices on Angie's List.
You could have purchased that website for like $14, but now I think it's for sale for like $150.
Yeah. Hit me up, Angie, if you want it. It's not slander if it's them putting their prices up there and their experiences. And that's the thing. If people can just inform each other.
You would have to be willing to do it as a community to understand how we can get things to be affordable again. You're still going to have your top tier companies. They're going to cost more because they use higher quality materials and they pay their guys a little bit better. And you're going to anticipate receiving a higher quality product in return from that person.
How do you get your customers?
So we've switched over a little bit here and gotten out of the home improvement industry. Back in 2019, huge wave of solar got really popular here in Virginia. Our local power company, Dominion, pretty much has a monopoly over the entire state of Virginia when it comes to electricity. Very few other options. And they finally opened up their solar program to be allowing homeowners in Virginia to start switching over. I loved it right from the very beginning. It's your same hard work and it's the same exact door knocking or telemarketing, generating your own appointments and sitting down in somebody's house. But this time around, you don't have to high pressure them. This time around,
we said that last time.
We did. Well, I don't think that we ever said that we didn't have to high pressure. I think that we're fully aware of what we did and we're okay with it because we said, you know what? The company I work for is going to use a high quality material and they're going to send a high quality installer and this person's going to get what they paid for. And whether they overpaid for it, the next guy who comes into the house is going to not do the work. He's going to take the money and run. He's going to do a bad job and they're never going to be able to reach him again. So we knew we could stand behind the company. We knew we could stand behind the work. We just couldn't stand behind the price. Or
how the pricing was delivered.
You had to high pressure somebody in that industry and you could sleep at night saying that if I wouldn't have done this, someone else with a worse company and a worse product was going to come in and high pressure them and they were going to end up getting ripped off.
It's what sales guys do. They'll offer a price, make a story, give you $18,000. But if you sign today, it's $12,000.
Let me check in the warehouse and see if I've got that color in stock.
If you call me back tomorrow, it's going to go up to $18,000.
Yeah, I've got another guy on hold and he's looking for the same thing. If you want it right now, it's yours.
You don't do that.
The beautiful thing about the solar industry is that you truly get to lower a bill for people that they're already paying every month. It's different because we had to train people for years to funnel down all of their objections to make it just about the money. Once they say to you, yes, I like your product. Yes, I like your company. Yes, I like the way it is. Yes, I think it needs to get done. The only thing is that the money has to fit into my budget or you have anything besides the money that's going to stop me from earning your business while I'm here today. And it's always about the money. The beautiful thing about solar is it's never about the money. It's about educating people. It's about making sure that they understand there is some education and some understanding that has to go into it. And if you can just be an honest person and a trustworthy person and care about the people that you're actually trying to take care of, this is the industry for you because that comes across. You're never going to have to high pressure. You can go into a home and truly show somebody you're paying $10 for something that should only be costing you $5. If I can show you how to stop paying 10 and start paying 5, would that be worth your time? The objections we deal with in this industry are, sounds too good to be true. If what you were telling me was true, why wouldn't everybody already have it? What's the catch? We're going to get all kinds of different objections.
But something that I never really thought about was actually like efficiency. You said about the roof.
You're taking the hottest parts of your roof and keeping them out of the sun. We're turning that sun into electricity, but that sun was beaten on your attic. If I can lower the temperature in your attic by 20 or 30 degrees, how much less work is going to need to be done by your air conditioning unit? Especially if you've got a split level unit and your upstairs unit's barely going to have to work at all anymore because it's been trying to battle that oven that's above your head. Energy efficiency just by putting the panels on the house is absolutely part of it. We talk about educating people. We're not here just to put solar on your house. We want to actually make the world a little bit better place and use less electricity. When you're able to help somebody, you're able to say, look, here's some tools now that come with this where you can monitor how much your heating and air conditioning unit is using. You can monitor how much power you're using at any given time. You can monitor how much production you're getting from your solar panels. When you have access to all of this information, you start making smarter decisions as well. So we've noticed that people start using 10, 15% less electricity right off the bat when they switch over to solar, just because it turns into a game. You've got something on your phone now where you're seeing what you're producing every day and you're trying to turn off lights and use less electricity to make sure that you're not using more than what you're consuming. The hardest part of solar is dealing with misconceptions. A lot of people have had solar over the years and it's evolved a lot. The solar that was sold to you in the 80s wasn't the same solar that was sold to you in the 90s.
You remember I beat you on solar. I sold solar in 2008, 2009, and we brought energy analysis. And that's something that a lot of people probably do have the preconceived notion. I used to have all these panels on my roof. When we were dealing with panels, they were 225 watts.
Now we're doing 420 watt panels.
Which means you need half as many panels.
So that takes you all the way to 2019.
Directly like to panels. If I have X amount of panels.
Even back when I started doing this in 2019, we typically couldn't get you all of your electricity from your solar panels. We would max out your roof space, and you might be getting 50, 60, 70, 80% of your power from solar and still buying the rest. If a panel now can double the production, same size panel, but produce twice as much electricity, now we're maximizing the sunniest parts of your roof and not even having to put panels on other sections that aren't as good and still getting people to 80, 90, 100% of their electricity coming from their solar. I joke around with people and I let them, hey, 50 years from now, you're probably going to have a solar panel the size of your cell phone. And it's going to sit up on your roof, no more noticeable than the satellite dish, and provide all the electricity to your home. We're just not there yet.
They won't let that come out anyway. They're like, you got it good enough. You won't put it in.
The panels, there's 800 watt panels on the market.
Right.
Now, they cost way more than twice as much as a 400 watt panel, so they're not going to be used residentially anytime soon. But as the prices on these things do start to come down, the wattage of the panels that we're using are absolutely going to continue to increase, and we're going to be able to get more production off of less roof space for homeowners.
What's the hard part of solar from a managing perspective?
Oh, man. In all reality, everything kind of ties right back into customer acquisition. Solar companies have given solar a good name and a bad name at the same exact time. The customers that have solar and got what they were promised absolutely love it and are the absolute best advocates.
Told you I hated solar off the rip because there was a lot of deceptive companies out there that were using the 30% tax credit as their commission base, where the deal could have made sense for the customer. And because solar has gone so much further in terms of technology, and because you can offset your bill and their commission and get it covered by the 30% federal tax credit, you're still doing it's better than the power company, yes. But is it the best deal?
There's lots of solar companies nationwide, and most of these companies have popped up. Unfortunately, the owners of most of those companies are in-home salesmen.
Right.
They're not engineers. They're not electricians. They're not solar people. And they don't necessarily have the customer's best interest at heart. It was to build these gigantic sales organizations where you have people knocking on doors and scheduling appointments. You've got other people going to those appointments and selling solar. And you build your company to the size where it's noticeable and the big players in the game want to buy you out. And you cash out for $100 million. Some of those bigger companies are still in business. Some are now out of business. And the customers are left stranded without knowing who to call if they need anything. It was based around pushing the sale instead of what's going to be long-term good for the customer. So getting into solar in 2019, it was something totally new to me in the aspect of, drop off the proposal. Let them think about it 2 or 3 days. Because you're here to help them. And the more people they talk to and the more they look into it, the better chance they have of saying yes.
Except where the windows, you're not buying your leads from Angie's List. How do you get your leads?
We did the same. We got our leads in the window business the same as we get our leads in the solar business, which is blood, sweat, and tears. Knocking on doors nonstop. Hot, cold, rain. We generate appointments by knocking on people's doors. Here's where that cost acquisition of you paying someone to go out and knock on those doors changes things for those companies and forces them to high pressure sell you. This person did not know that there was anything wrong with their house. We came along and we knocked on the door and we said, hey, I couldn't help but notice, follow me. Pointed out rotten wood, showed them where water could be leaking in.
You drug them outside. You do drugs with them. No.
Never.
Plus, that's what it takes.
We'd convince them to come outside, take a look at their house, and point out an issue that they didn't know that they had and educate them on what's going to continue to happen if they're doing nothing. And now all of a sudden they have an issue on their home that they didn't know that they had.
It's called
creating urgency, but you're also creating a shopper because they didn't choose you. They now know they have a problem. I come to your house and I convince you that you need to buy a car. That doesn't mean you're going to buy mine. You might go shopping to figure out which car is going to be the best deal for you. And now I spent all of my time walking around neighborhoods, educating people, pointing out problems on their homes that they didn't even know they had. They're going to take that information, shop you around to a whole bunch of companies and find out who can take care of it cheaper than you can. And so those companies are going to have that higher cost because they're having to pay those people to go out and do it. At least they put the work, sweat, effort into it. And there's a savings than paying somebody else to put the blood, work, sweat, effort into it.
Yes and no. That Angie's List costs you way more. If you're doing what's right for people,
you good at sales, you wouldn't have been able to set those appointments in the first place. So Angie's List is way cheaper.
You can set solar sales all day. Can't you? If you talk to enough people, that makes sense. Where windows and doors, you're not really going to do that because you have to create the urgency, because you have to make something of nothing. You know, you have to replace these windows where solar,
they didn't know they had.
This is what you're paying. You're not going to go without power.
And you're already paying it. I've ever gone into had the lights turned on. I've never walked into someone's house and said, let me tell you about this amazing thing that's going to keep your house cool in the summertime. They all have electricity. They're all paying for it.
Right.
So at the end of the day, it's, hey, I know where this gas station is that charges $1 a gallon less than the one that you're going to. Can I show you where it's at? And you go, if there was $1 a gallon cheaper, everybody would already know about it. And it's building that customer relationship to let me show you that what you for so long doesn't make it the best way.
If the need's there, the need's there. If solar doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense. There's some areas that might not make as much sense as other areas, depending on your circumstance. You're not going to buy a solar system if you're moving in 3 years. You might lease it. There might be a better option, or the best option might be no option. Electric cost is so high that even if you take out the BS of the home improvement industry, oh, your electric's going to go up by 18% a year.
Electric's gone up faster than it's ever gone up at any other.
But even if you ignore that and you go historical,
you're paying the bill already.
And I guess what I'm saying is, even if they shop your rate, now here's where you get into the part of solar I didn't like, because yes, then you have the high pressure sales guys that will high pressure that, and people will see the numbers and they do make sense and they are genuine, but they don't realize that that company is taking, is it advantage of them? I don't know. The customer did it on their own free will.
And that's kind of the motto of the company I'm at here now. The solar company that I work with currently is got the lowest prices nationwide. They are by far the largest, and they're trying to cut out every middleman that they possibly can to provide that direct to consumer lower cost, where we don't subcontract any of our work out and we use our own warehouses. There's no wholesalers, there's no distributors, and everywhere where we can pinch a penny, we want to try to pass that experience back on to the customer. All the way down to the owner of the company was very, very, very well off before getting into this industry. This was not something he was doing because he wanted to get rich. He was already rich.
Are we allowed to say his podcast? Not with blanket.
I would imagine that we can. And it's
because that's what interested me in that company in particular. Because I'm sitting there talking, and I told you on the phone, I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of talking shit about solar right now, though. But he was too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was like,
he doesn't think that what these people are doing is right, and he says, if you're not going to do it the right way, then I have no problem putting you out of business. His podcast is the Solar Disruption Theory. So,
I like this guy.
Great guy. Not trying to build a company that operates on 30 and 40% profit margins because he wants to sell it to someone else. It's a private company. They have no plans on going public. He's not looking for investors. And he's perfectly fine with making little to no money year after year after year because he doesn't need the money. He needs the legacy. He wants to be known as the guy that provided affordable electricity to all Americans and did it the right way without kind of middlemanning everything like what's going on in the industry.
And that's what I was going to say. And I guess that's what I was leading towards when I kept asking, what's the problem? This is the best industry for a younger person that has no career path and just doesn't want to go to college. This is pure hustle. If you want to make it, if you want to go knock doors, if you want to get customers, if a roof has sunlight on it, go knock on their door. You can do that right now and make money.
Absolutely.
Because he'd rather pay you as the setter or as the closer for the company than to pay the middlemen companies, than to pay the Angie's List corporations of the world.
Exactly.
And that actually makes it sustainable, makes it American. It makes the person that's knocking on your door real. You can connect to them. People need to forget about, oh, I hate doors knocking or my phone ringing, but you can tell who you're talking to. Online, you have no idea who you're talking to. You can knock doors till the day you die and make a living.
Absolutely.
You choose what you want to do. If you want to build more team, you can do that. You can diversify. You can do all these different things. But at the end of the day, even with the window hospital, I can take a roll of screen and knock doors and make 6 figures. But let's just drive and hustle.
And makes me think back to a Zig Ziglar book about a guy that went door to door doing peepholes, drilled the hole right there in your door. So you said yes, drilled you a peephole, stuck it in the hole, and went on to the next door and was making 6 figures off of sheer work ethic, just not taking days off.
And that to me is like the American dream. And that still exists right now. And then if you guys have no opportunity and want to knock doors, hit Jason up.
We're always hiring. An amazing industry to be in where a lot of these things are dominated by computers, and we can keep that advertising money in the hands of people willing to work hard. They're getting lost to the internet and social media, and that is the way where people find out what companies their friends used, or just willing to spend the most money to get in front of them on their cell phones as they're scrolling nonstop all day long. So
we'll end it on that.
Thanks for having me, Josh.
Thanks for coming, man. We'll see you next time.
Ferns.